Noisy Pixel. What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Noisy Pixel Podcast, the official podcast of NoisyPixel.net, a place where you can look at video game news, reviews, previews, and all that good stuff. But that's not what this is. This is a show where we talk about games, and mostly talk about ourselves, with your host, me, Brian. And today I'm joined with Victor Aparicio.
I don't mean to keep getting Starbucks, but it's so good.
And we're also joined by the great and wonderful Jacob Kavanaugh.
Aw, thanks. What'd you get at Starbucks?
White chocolate mocha.
Good taste.
That's like the farthest off from coffee you could probably get. It's just chocolate, and milk. You got a chocolate milk. It's what you got. It's what you're telling me.
No,
I did get a chocolate milk.
I don't even like coffee. That extra sweetness is good stuff.
All right.
It's what makes it not coffee.
Let's dive in with what you're playing. Jacob, let's start with you. What you been playing this past week?
We in the last couple of days, yesterday, today, we got Byleth in Smash Bros. So we're doing that. And we're also trying and very much failing to play Puzzle and Dragons, which is like the crossover gacha game that's match 3, kind of like Honey Pop, but has nothing to do with Honey Pop at all. I just felt like bringing up something that's possibly better.
Yeah, if you really like puzzle game, like Bejeweled type puzzle games, where it's match 3, and you like seducing women, you should play Honey Pop instead.
Yeah, also because Honey Pop is easier than Puzzle and Dragons.
Yeah, Puzzles and Dragons can get really ridiculous. It's also like,
why is this game so hard?
It's also like pay to win a little bit too, because you really gotta like invest money into like good gacha units and stuff.
Okay, but like there was the Switch release, right? That was Puzzle and Dragons Gold.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, okay, so it's based on the anime, shonen anime.
Mm-hmm.
So, for the kids. And then you jump in, and then it turns out you need to be like a Puzzle and Dragons master to beat the tutorial.
That's
It's like, what?
That's
I'm trying to fight a child. Why is this game hard? Why can't I beat the tutorial? And so I needed to get the mobile game so I could practice and beat the tutorial. I barely gotten any further. In like 7 hours, I'm so bad at this game.
Oh, man. Well, for those of you who think you're better at puzzle games than Jacob, check out Puzzles and Dragons, both on mobile and the Switch version.
Switch versions, like paid console game.
Yeah. So do you get like free gachas in the Switch one then? Like you just get it from playing the game, You get more gachas? Oh, okay. I like that.
Okay, I think that's how that works. I would tell you if I'd unlocked them yet, but I can't beat enough of the game to unlock that section where you get no spirits.
Oh man, maybe I'll get Puzzles and Dragons for the Switch. I might play it.
I'm gonna go and like ask some people for help.
How about you, Victor? What have you been playing?
I'm still addicted to The Forest. It's just something about that game. You just can't put it down. But I already talked about that. So, I do have 2 games in for review. One's Down to Hell, which has been a long-standing one, but don't worry, it'll come out. And that game's just, oh my god, like I can't like. Okay,
give me like a brief synopsis.
It's a side-scrolling slasher, so sort of beat 'em up, but you got a sword, so I guess it's a slasher, and it's just based on just some really simple mechanics. You press the button to swing some stuff, and you press another button to do some magic stuff, and like pretty much it. But like if you've played, well, I'll put it this way: if you played anything that's a side scroller and with some action on like Newgrounds or something, like it doesn't even have to be Newgrounds; it can be like some other second tier website that tried to dethrone Newgrounds but never succeeded.
Congregate?
Yeah, probably. If you played anything from those sites, you've played a better game than Down to Hell.
Really? That's rough. That's a crazy thing.
Sorry, spoilers.
Spoilers, it's not good. Read the review on why.
Later this week. But I just I just downloaded and checked out the first few. I'm gonna say moments of Thronebreaker, the Witcher story, which has already been out for PS4, PC, and Xbox. And it's just a story set in the Witcher universe, where you play as like this queen of like this nation, and like you gotta have your nation and like fight other people. Something about the world you live in, high royalty nations stuff. Whatever Witcher is about, you kind of get it. But this game is more of a narrative, like somewhat like there's a adventure aspect to it where it's kind of like isometric. Like
I'm sorry. How does Avengers come into this?
Avengers? I didn't say that, did I?
They said Avengers.
Adventures. Adventures.
Oh, adventurers. Thank you. That's a much better word.
It has an adventure aspect to the game where it's kind of isometric and like you're walking around villages, you're talking to people, doing some quests, and then when you come to like the battling, like with fighting with your army and someone else's army, it turns into that card game. I've yet to determine whether or not it's like Gwent, because I haven't got to that part yet. But the visuals are solid. It looks fun. I think I'm gonna have a pretty a good, if not decent, time with the game. So it's looking good.
Oh yeah.
Thumbs up.
On my end, I've been playing more DJ Max Respect 5 to get some more information for the review I'm working on. So I've been playing with my housemate. I convinced him to play it because he really likes rhythm games, and so we tried out the multiplayer stuff for it, and that's been pretty fun. I didn't realize they like allow you to play with so many people online. Like you can make a lobby and you can have up to like I think 8 people playing at the same time, like one track. So you and your friends could just like hang out and like chill and play against each other to see who gets like a higher score on the song. But yeah, still loving it. It's really clean. Trying to unlock more songs and things like that and just get a better grasp of the game. So there's that. And then I also bought Tem Tem.
How's that launch MMO treating you?
It's been pretty good so far. I haven't had any complaints with it actually. There was one instance where the servers went down.
Because they're always buggy and stuff on launch.
Like all of my housemates got like, or what happened was I was playing with 2 of my housemates, and then I convinced Jessie and her brother to buy the game too. As soon as they bought the game and tried to get on, they couldn't get on because the servers were being like wonky. And then my 2 housemates that I was playing with already, they got booted from the server, and so they couldn't play either. And so it was just me playing Tem Tem for like 3 hours by myself because it's something to do with the login service. So eventually, like I got booted out too because my internet died, and then we all tried to get in, but we couldn't do it. So we were like constantly checking. But what's funny was we were like checking the Discord.
Like a launch MMO.
Yeah, we were checking the Discord for the thing, and the team that's making Tem Tem is like really small. They're like 18 people or something like that. And so one of the people who like works on Tem Tem, he like messages on Discord. He's like, "Servers have been reset. I'm going back to bed now." Because it was like super late at night when we were doing this, and I like cracked up because I was like, "Wow, that's a really dedicated like employee right there, making sure that shit's still working." But the game itself has been really fun. So Tem Tem takes like the monster capturing and battling like genre of Pokemon and actually makes it into a genre because now there's a game that's not Pokemon that does it.
You say that like Yokai Watch never existed.
It doesn't exist.
You're right. Yokai Watch is not good.
But yeah, it's fun. Like it's pretty big. A lot of the land areas and maps like to go explore and stuff.
How's the Tem Tem's battle system?
The battle system I really like. It's a double battle system. So you're playing 2 Tem Tems versus 2 Tem Tems. And they don't have like random critical hit chance, which is great. Personally, I love that. So it's more consistent. So you gotta know more about like typing, and they also have like I forget what the type of move is called. They're like synergy type moves. So some moves will have like a plus icon on it and has a secondary like thing that it does, but only under the context of if it's battling on the same team as a Pokemon of a certain type or something. So like one of them is like, oh, if this Pokemon is battling or is teamed up with a not Pokemon, this Tem Tem. I know my friend hates it. My friend hates it too. Like she gets hella mad at me because I keep calling them by Pokemon names and like references, and she's like, they're Tem Tem, Brian. They're Tem Tem. So yeah, so if you have one Tem Tem and like that's poison, and another Tem Tem that has like a certain move, that move like makes it so it does extra damage and also inflicts poison on the enemy Tem Tem for like 4 turns or something like that. So there's like little things like that to kind of like work with the composition of your team more and play around with that. And then there's also IV and EV stuff that you can do to like make your Tem Tems better, but they changed what they're called. I forget what the new values are named, but there's that. But as far as like that, yeah, it's basically Pokemon. It's like they took Pokemon and they got rid of all the stuff that they didn't like about Pokemon, and then slapped on an MMO styling to it, and there you have it. That's Tem Tem. So like the MMO aspects of it is like you can play the game co-op with a friend. So you'll like have a friends list. You can team up with your friend, and what happens is anytime you or your friend encounters a battle with either a wild Tem Tem or like another trainer, you both are battling and get to control one of the Tem Tems, because I think it takes the top 3 Tem Tem from your team and the top 3 Tem Tem from your friend's team, and they put it on a team of 6, and then that's the Tem Tem pool you get to work with. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
They don't do enough of that in Pokemon.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing that I like is new that I kind of enjoy. And it's nice if like you don't want to go through like the grind of it. You can team up with your friend who like doesn't mind doing the grind or has tougher Tem Tem, and he can just like start one-shotting things for you if you want to. And I think it'll be interesting when you do like competitive 2v2 battles with your friends, because you and your friend can like probably co-op team up and then match up with other people. I don't know if that's actually a thing. I haven't checked that out yet, but I think that's a cool idea if it exists, and I'm pretty sure it does, but I'm not too entirely sure yet. And it's still technically like an early access game because they're still fixing up and adding a bunch of stuff. So there's some like areas of the map that's still work in progress and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, I think it's a really solid game, and I appreciate its existence because there can't just be Pokemon all the time, you know.
I mean, there is Yokai Watch that sort of
no, it doesn't exist. Doesn't exist.
What other monster things are there? We need a new Monster Rancher game.
Oh, we do need a new Monster Rancher game.
No.
But yeah, so that's with me and what I've been playing. And yeah, let's speaking of Pokemon, let's move on to the topic that we wanted to talk about for today. So they announced that Pokemon Home is coming out sometime next month. And for those of you listening that don't know what Pokemon Home is, it's basically a service that you pay for where you can transfer Pokemon over from Pokemon from other Pokemon games from like different versions. So like if you had like Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and if you have Pokemon on the 3DS and stuff like that, you can port those over to say your like Switch version of Pokemon and any like future ones that come out as well. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is I wanted to talk about 2 things. One, like what are your thoughts about Pokemon Home as a service? Like, do you think it's worth it? Because for one instance is you need to have Pokemon Bank, which is a service they already provided for the DS Pokemon games, but you also have to have Pokemon Home in order for you to be able to transfer stuff between your DS version and your Switch version. So you're essentially having to pay for multiple services.
Multiple services. I mean, not everyone is going to be utilizing Bank now since they're going to be making stuff easier, but it's still weird in the case of... It's still weird in the sense that, like, it doesn't... You need to actually buy... You need to actually have the paid version of Home. Mm-hmm. Right, because they come to actually have the compatibility with Bank.
Yeah, you have to have the premium version of Home, and you
So
also have to
Home
have Bank in order to do both, I believe. So the premium plans for Pokemon Home, for 1 month, it's $3. If you're paying for 3 months, it's $5. If you're paying for a full year, it's like $16. And so the benefits of the service is you can link your Nintendo Switch versions of Pokemon Home, and once the games are linked, users can deposit or retrieve Pokemon that can be obtained using those games. So, for example, if you have Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee, you can link that to Pokemon Home, and then you can take the Pokemon you got from Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu into, say, your Pokemon Sword and Shield game.
So do you need to pay for that?
No. So for Switch to Switch, you don't have to pay for it. It doesn't sound like.
Right. So for Switch to Switch, you don't have to. But then for to use the 3DS version, you will need to pay for the premium service.
Right. If user is enrolled in a premium plan, which is the paid plan, they'll be able to move their Pokemon from Nintendo 3DS titles using Pokemon Bank,
which is essentially just.
It's basically Pokemon Home, but just for the 3DS.
It is
circulation. Another stuff you get from the premium stuff is you get access to a national Pokedex.
And isn't that like in it by default in the free version?
Not sure.
I think that's.
I assumed it was, but I guess not.
I think it is.
Oh, I guess when it says other benefits of the feature, it might just mean like Pokemon Home at base. This is what it gives you.
Yeah, the premium things, I think the premium things are like, if you use the free version, you're locked to about 30 slots.
Oh, okay.
And you can use the GTS, but you can only like put up one Pokemon for transfer, and you can only use the Wonder Box, which is basically a Wonder Trade with like one slot, which is a new fancy thing. You want to Wonder Trade without actually using one of the games, because now you can trade as long as someone has the premium service. You can trade just through Pokemon Home.
Yeah, so that gets me into my like next point. So I like the fact that this is a feature you can like have, like, you know, like if I've been playing Pokemon on other consoles like 3DS and stuff like that, I want to be able to have them when I keep playing Pokemon down the line. So I appreciate that this service exists, but I don't know how I feel about having to pay for multiple services in order to be able to do that, the functionality of that. Which gets me to the next
really weird thing is like the fact that eventually they're going to have to stop supporting the 3DSs online.
Mm-hmm.
So then what are they going to do for transferring between Bank and Home?
Yeah. I feel like you only really need the service for a certain amount until like for transferring all the stuff you already have, and once you're done with that, you don't need to use it anymore.
Yeah, it's just weird in that sense of what if you can't transfer between those games anymore, which is something we haven't had since Gen 3.
But yeah, so getting into my next point, I wanted to like tie this into like cross-platform compatibility between like older systems. I guess not cross-platform, but like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Cross-compatibility is older systems. Cross-platform is just playing with other systems.
That's what,
entirely.
yes. Cross-compatibility with older systems is what I mean to say. Yeah, so like I feel like that's been a topic that's come up here and there in video games where like they're saying like, oh, hey, you bought a PS4, can't play PS2 games on it. What's up with that? You know, like, and then they're doing services to help, I guess, alleviate that. Like, I think PlayStation's got their whole like storefront thing where you get to buy digital versions of classic like PlayStation 2 games, and
provided they put the game up.
Yeah, like that, yeah, and that's dependent on like them to select what games they think are worth having on there, right? So yeah, I just wanted to get like your guys' general thoughts on, you know, what would you look for in cross compatibility between older systems? How do you think? What do you think would be a good way to implement it? And just are the services that are being provided currently, as of today, enough?
Look, I don't know. There's going to be some difficulty. I mean, I believe what the main reason for the PS4 not having cross-console compatibility is you've got to spend those resources making an actual emulator in the system for those pieces, and that's a lot of effort. Unless you want to be Sony and you just go and, copy someone else's emulator and then sell it for like $100. It's called the PlayStation Mini.
Well, as much as I love like these forward-thinking ideas to like get like older stuff and like reviving it to be on newer consoles, that's just it though. Like these things have to be so forward-thinking. Like in order for like things to be really compatible and like not like have like these weird issues, is that you have to build a PS2 knowing that you're going to build a PS4, and like maybe and then think of a way to put like things from a PS2 memory card to like a PS4. But that's just continuing that weird example that we made. So
I think that's not something you have to do as much now though, because
because
we're not limited to 256 kilobytes of information.
Right. Nowadays, it's more like the games and stuff are like digital. So I feel like porting would be easier to moving forward. Like future proofing, I feel like has gotten a lot easier.
Those are kind of like thoughts when you think of it from like a hardware perspective. And even from then, there's like plenty of times where like even the hardware fails or like there's like the changing of plans, like going back to like Sony. It's just like, yeah, you can play some PS1, PS2 games, but guess what? The new model, we took it out. So, or like with Rock Band, where it's just like it's cool. You got the new Rock Band 4 for PS4, and it's just like, so let's just hope that you don't have some like busted USB dongles that came with your guitar, or else you're gonna have to buy a new one. So so it's just like, and also if we can get licensing to transfer songs over, but so
that's its own
when it comes to things when it comes to things like that just has like so many moving parts, and even with these Pokemon games where like some of their systems, of course not the Pokemon collecting part, are like just vastly different. Who had the forward thought to just be like, no, yeah, like through some fucked up way it's possible to get your Pokemon that you collected since freaking Game Boy Advance or GameCube and like get them into your Switch. Who would have thought of that? So on paper, I love how much they're encouraging these Pokemon obsessed people. It's just so much to like parse through. Like one of my favorite images on Reddit is that guide of how to like get almost everything you've ever owned Pokemon transferred into Pokemon Home. And not the first comment, but the most upvoted comment on top is, well, I'm glad I never got into Pokemon collecting. Like it's like my most favorite thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I take slight issue with that in the sense that like the only Pokemon you are bringing across, that you're going out of your way to bring across from those older games, are literally for sentimental value.
Right.
It's only for I wanted to bring this dude. I wanted to bring along my Swampert that I had in Emerald.
Yeah.
And then amazingly, unless your Swampert was like, and it's taken until like literally now that if your Swampert had a bad nature, like a really bad nature, like it was timid, then it's kind of, you weren't going to exactly use it competitively. It's going to be another thing. Having the Pokemon with you is a fun thing.
I feel like for the Pokemon thing, it benefits more the competitive players, right? Because you're like, oh, I spent so much time like EV training and all that sort of stuff. I don't want to have to like do that all over again. I just want to transfer.
Now you say that, but guess what? If you were to go and participate in the VGC, they need to be Pokemon from the current systems.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know a lot about the Pokemon competitive scene.
So really, it wasn't until Sword and Shield in which they've implemented the ability to get these mints that would change the natures as well. So it's only now in which you can actually make your those Pokemon you've had with you for 10 plus years competitive beasts as well. Guaranteed. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use them in VGC. So you're just paying extra money for sentimentality. Is that a word? It is now.
It's a word.
Yeah. But yeah, getting back into cross compatibility between older systems, I agree with you what you're saying, Victor. Where it's like it's hard to if you're thinking too much when you're making a console on how you're going to be using the same features in future consoles, I feel like it hinders your future console development because you won't be able to push as many boundaries if you're worrying too much about keeping the functionality of older stuff.
I like that thought.
Like if someone's like, we need to be able to make that memory card for the PS2 compatible with whatever future console we're using, then we wouldn't have like a lot of the stuff that we would have today on a PS4, I feel.
You're not going to know that the memory cards that memory card's insane. It's got 16 megabytes of space.
Right, exactly. Like we wouldn't even like fathom like, wait, we can have literally 2 terabytes of stuff onto one console. We never need a memory card again. Like that's what you're just thinking to yourself.
And I'm pretty sure they never thought of it once, because when they were doing like, oh yeah, slap your PS2 disc on your launch PS3, like all it was just emulating like as if you had 2 memory cards anyways. They never even thought about you bringing over your old saves.
Yeah. So I think in that sense that like the whole storefront.
Yeah, no one expected like all right, I'm ready to buy the new COD game. What's that? You've got to like spend 20 hours installing the damn game because it's like 120 gigabytes of extra space because they didn't optimize the damn game.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what I appreciate. Like having this conversation, I appreciate remasters a lot more than, right? Because I feel like that's a really good solution for people who want to be able to play those old games that they have on a modern day console without having to like both.
This is a really silly gripe. But in one sense, I liked these limitations because you'd find developers using interesting and insane ways to like actually optimize the game. And now Activision's like, hey guys, 50 gigabytes on launch because we kept building it after we shipped it. We don't care. We want money. We want the sales.
All right. Well, I feel like we can move on from
updating things.
Oh, no, sorry. I feel like we can move on from this topic. For those who have thoughts on this topic that are listening to this, feel free to comment below on the YouTube version of this podcast, or feel free to email me at brian@noisypixel.net because I'm very curious about it.
We will listen to you. We will listen to you. We'll probably even like post what you say in our group chat and everyone will know.
Oh no, you're going to stress out now. You're going to stress them out. Now they won't want to talk to us. No pressure. It'll be for my eyes only.
No pressure. I'm trying to say the fact that we will see it. But okay.
Brian will give you dating advice privately.
For every video game thought you give me, I'll give you one piece of dating advice. That'll be the exchange via email. All right. Well, moving on to the next bit, let's go talk about Get to Know Your Pixels. And we're going to keep the theme of Pokemon because I feel like that's a very good, thing that links all of these segments together. There's like a bunch of Pokemon movies, like a whole bunch.
There's one each year.
Do you guys have a favorite one? If so, which one is your favorite Pokemon movie and why? I can start. My favorite Pokemon movie is definitely Pokemon 2000.
Is that because it's the only one you've seen?
No, I've seen all the way up to the Jirachi one. I think is as far as I've gone. So I think that's like 6 movies deep or something.
That's 6. That's 6 movies deep. That's 6 out of like
a lot.
20. That's 6 out of 22, and that's not including like Detective Pikachu.
Okay, no, I've seen. Yeah, so I've seen Detective Pikachu.
That's 7. You've seen like a third-ish.
Is the Latias and Latias one within the first 6?
I think that's 5.
Okay, and then I think I actually saw the Lucario one too, so I might have.
Oh wait, that's the one after
from the Pokemon.
8 movies.
But yeah, Pokemon 2000 is my favorite one, and most of it's for like sentimental reasons because I had it on DVD. I remember watching it back in theaters where they used to give out like Pokemon cards for like promo when you go see them in movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I missed out on those cards.
Yeah, and then so one, I really like the story. Because I really liked the legendary birds as Pokemon. The other
pub quiz. What's the main bad guy's name?
Oh shoot, I don't know who the main bad guy's name is. That's not what I'm thinking about when I'm watching the Pokemon movie. I'm thinking, wow, those Pokemon are really cool. And Ash gets to ride a Lugia. Those are the types of shit that I'm thinking about.
The trick question. They never mention his actual name in the movie.
He's just called the
don't-
collector throughout the entire film. He's only called by his actual name, Lawrence the Third, in additional materials.
Lawrence.
Don't ruin this movie for me, Jacob.
Brian, are you sure you're not thinking like, oh man, now that I watched this movie, I hope I can transfer it to my Pokemon bank, then to my Switch?
That's what. Yes, but in like human terms, we're like, man, I hope I can transfer the knowledge that I have of this movie to when I'm old and senile to the future Brian Bank of Pokemon.
Oh.
Man, but yeah, and then the other reason was I had the DVD and there was these like weird music videos on the DVD where apparently they had this like live like launch party or something for Pokemon 2000, and they had
My god!
they had
really?
like they had like a rap song for it and everything, and I very much remember like watching all of the bonus features on this DVD.
See, I never saw these because I have it on VCR.
The
So I'm gonna bring out the whole rewind button every time I want to watch it, because then I watch the whole thing and you got to spend ages going.
Yeah.
The only thing I retain from the Pokemon movies in my weird brain is that Christina Aguilera sings a song in the first movie.
What?
It's like about
what?
It's like about love.
Oh yeah,
I don't
the
remember
first.
this.
I think, does she sing the insert song where they have the whole like?
Yes, it's the ending credit song.
Oh, never mind. That's not what I thought I was thinking of.
Sorry,
They just put a Christina Aguilera song in that. Sure.
I just
Sounds like for kids.
the first Pokemon movie. I only remember two things. One is the two Pikachu slapping each other and crying,
How dare you?
and Mewtwo giving some like really wise speech about one's birth is irrelevant to something.
Which is like hilariously against standard traditional Japanese values.
Yeah, that's true, huh? All right, Jacob, go ahead. Your turn.
Okay, this is a very tricky question because I've seen about 12 of these films, so I'm not too much better.
12 is way bigger than 8. Okay, let's you're
Out
in the
of
double
22?
digits here. You're halfway. You've seen half of the Pokemon movies. That's crazy.
Aside from me adoring the power of one for the exact same reasons of Brian, because you know it's that whole you've got an imposing villain who calls himself the Collector, capturing all these fancy magical birds to summon a big ass whatever the hell Lugia is.
Oh, and then that
What is
what's her face who plays like a budget ocarina to summon Lugia.
Oh yeah, and we and remember it had the best companion in all the Pokemon, Tracy. With a Brock cameo as he's running around the background of Ivy's place.
Yeah.
This is important stuff when you're a kid.
Continuity.
And also Tracy.
Continuity.
Yeah. Also, Tracy isn't in any other film, so there's an innate plus to that.
That's true.
Actually, the other good one, my other favorites are going to be The Power of Us, which was actually the 2018 film, which also has Lugia, which is why it was called The Power of Us, because the Japanese title was Everyone's Story, so they thought, hey, let's mirror The Power of One in 2000 with
That's
The
kind
Power
of cool.
of Us.
I like it. That's nice.
And The Power of Us is a really cool story because it has like 5 different new characters and how their stories all intertwine and how they're gonna stop something bad happening involving the new obligatory legendary Pokemon. Ash is there too, but I like the fact that Ash is there too. That's more of the thing. Ash is there for the final battle because he's Ash Ketchum, but there are like these 5 other important people who just are not sitting it. I like I like stories with moving parts.
Yeah. That sounds cool. I might check that one out then. How about you, Victor? You got one that you really like?
Yeah, my favorite Pokemon movie is Revenge of Diaboromon. And
Shut the front door.
Is that the one? Is that like the Digimon film?
I didn't realize we were allowed to do that. Okay, I would also choose that as well then. Because the Digimon movies are far superior to the Pokemon movies.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I'm gonna disagree in some of them.
Not
I
the
did
US
not
release.
mean-
The US release of the Digimon movie is sheer garbage.
Oh
did
god,
not mean-
the US release is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen because it's like 3 different films mashed together.
It's like The Room for Digimon.
They literally cut down the 3. They cut down the 3 20-minute. What were they? They the Digimon Adventure films?
Yeah, they
Or
took like the
what
3
was-
Japanese films and then they like budget cutted them all together to try to make sense, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they had like the protagonist of the second one was like used to was a friend of the first one, and then the third one they sent an email to the third
Yeah,
protagonist, and it nothing
Email.
makes sense.
If
What's
you-
most
okay.
important is that All Star plays near the end.
Yes, that's the best bit, is that All-Star plays in that movie. And some other song by Bare Naked Ladies is at the beginning of the movie too. It's pretty. It's a 1 week. 1 week plays. 1 week plays at the very beginning of that movie, and it's amazing.
Oh my god.
All right, but we're not talking about Digimon.
I know
Talking about
my
Pokemon.
joke started like this fucking beef now.
What
Anyway,
the? We're
I'm
enjoying
gonna
this.
I'm gonna be basic and pick the Pokemon Detective movie,
Okay.
which
Take it
you would
easy.
think is the easiest title to remember. Anyways, but I'm only picking it because like I was like trashing on that movie. I was like, the first trailer was just garbage to me.
Really?
Like
Mm.
like
Okay.
for Pokemon that do not assume to be fuzzy, like they're all just fuzzy. I'm just like I was like what's wrong with this like art direction? Someone has a fetish for like very furry, very like plush looking things,
Mhm.
and it's a waste of Ryan Reynolds comedy. And like I just had all these opinions, and I was just like no. And like I was so for the fucking Reddit protest where they wanted like Danny to be
Yes, I'm
to be
still-
the fucking Pikachu.
I want that. I want that to be a
honestly hated that.
bonus, like a bonus feature on the DVD or something. Just
Yeah,
to get,
he should do like one scene.
yeah,
just
a
to-
scene
just to
with
be-
Danny DeVito's voice would make my day.
And and it was to my surprise, but not my surprise to go on like day 1 or 2. I don't remember what day. I think I went on day 1. I don't remember. And I was pleasantly surprised. Yes, the story is pretty shoddy, and like they try to.
It's
You
basic
think-
as all hell. But
you
who
think they're
cares?
You think they're gonna do like this double twist where it's like I'm the bad guy. Nope, I'm the bad guy. But it's like it didn't land very well.
Yeah.
But I am impressed with their ability for Pikachu to be like this living and breathing animal dude guy and implement him into the world, because there are some shots where it's just like where he actually has some weight, and like he's like very present in this very obviously fake digital CG world, but they had some like realistic shots where like he falls
Have
on
you
top
seen
of the guy.
Joltik?
and they-
Did
and
you
they-
see
and
the
his-
Joltik? They're so cute.
Pikachu falls on this guy, and like there's some realistic weight, and like his clothes shift whenever like Pikachu's like climbing all over him. It's really well done
Mm.
movie in terms of technical
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah,
I think it's a
movie.
really technically well made film. I also
I
really
adore that film
appreciate.
because it's basic storytelling wise,
Mhm.
but it's for Pokemon. It's I don't care that the story isn't like The Gentleman Good or The Man from Uncle Good or Snatch or those. I just picked up 3 Guy Ritchie films. Wow.
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, I like the world building in it. I like the take on doing a Pokemon movie that's not one of those like it's got to be battling all the time. We're just doing tournament style battling,
But-
or
Yeah,
like
this ain't
it's a
your Shonen
mythic legend. We got to go stop these god Pokemon from doing stuff. It's just like no, it's just shit's happening. Humans doing stupid shit.
hap-
Yeah, and there's
Mewtwo was
Pokemon.
involved, but who cares?
Yeah, like it was like a Pokemon movie, but it wasn't like a Pokemon movie, which I kind of like. I liked about it.
Yeah,
you know? It made
I'm
it
especially glad. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That was done.
I was gonna say I'm especially glad that like Nintendo's isn't afraid to let like fucking Legendary like be a little weird with it, like a little like I said, it was a little, that first trailer was a little risky. I was like, what's going on here?
Mhm.
But I'm glad that's happening, because like you would think a Japanese company would not like would hold a grudge forever for what happened to the Mario Brothers movie.
Mhm.
But instead, they're just like, here, you can make a fantastical, weird, weirdly realistic, but still works Pokemon movie. And you can also make a Mario movie with the fucking Minions maker. So like, there's that too.
I'm gonna be honest. I may have only been like 12 when I saw the Super Mario movie, but
Mhm.
I thought that was great.
Of course it did. I mean, what is it?
I
what is
also
it?
read the book. There was a book. There was a book.
Okay, so Yoshi's an actual dinosaur, and a Goomba is like a fucking weird fish head dude.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
If you haven't
whatever you
seen-
thought was great, Jacob.
If you haven't seen the Mario Brothers movie, you should check it out. There's a lot of video game movies. Look, if you watch them now, they're really shitty. They were shitty then, but now they're haha shitty today. So watch the
And
Mario
then
Bros
occasionally-
movie. Watch what's the one with the Power Glove from Nintendo? The Wizard, I think it's called, or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. That one's pretty good.
Gotta go California.
We also want to bring up just the Ace Attorney film because that's actually a fantastic film and needlessly good.
Ooh.
That's actually a fantastic. That's a great film.
I'm gonna go watch that. That sounds good.
Watch.
All right, we spent enough time
Also-
on this really, really small segment. I'm gonna
just
segue
want-
us. I think it's.
I just
you-
want to say one thing.
all right, one thing. You can have one thing. One last thing. Close us out.
I just wanted to say the two brothers. I forgot who were the actors. They admitted to being drunk on set. So anyways, there you go.
Interesting.
I mean, I'd be drunk if I was playing Luigi too, and I haven't had alcohol before.
All right, moving on to the next segment. Game shout out of the week. This is a segment where we're gonna, talk about one game. We're gonna pick one game that we think is interesting to us. That's either came out this week or is coming out later this week. And yeah, just giving it a little shout out. Bringing it to you guys' attention. Because I feel like a lot of times, video game news channels, they kind of just talk about the same games over and over and over and over and over again. We're probably guilty of that to some extent too, where we talk only about the popular stuff. So this is our chance to talk about stuff that
We only talk about the popular stuff.
may not be as popular and may not be as well known, but also seems like a pretty neat or cool thing to be worth checking out. So I'm gonna start with a game called Aviary Attorney. Speaking of Ace Attorney, it's a really weird concept, which is why I picked it. It's already out on Steam. It came out on Steam like a couple years ago, I believe. But it's coming to Switch January 30th, which is tomorrow as of the day that we're recording this podcast. But it's the premise is you're if you've played Hatoful Boyfriend where you date birds and stuff, this is like the Ace Attorney version of that, where you play as a bird lawyer in 1840s France named J.J. Falcon and his witty apprentice.
That's a fantastic name.
It's an amazing name.
Call me JJ Falcon.
And his witty apprentice Sparrowson, as the two take on clients, interview witnesses, collect evidence, and deliver justice to the guilty. And I'm shouting this game out just because I love weird games, and I love developers who just like run with a weird ass concept and just decide to make it because they think it's cool. So this is one I'm gonna be checking out. I recommend you guys give it a look, and if it's the price is right and you're curious like me, I would recommend checking it out because it looks like it's a lot of fun.
Price is right.
Yeah. How about you guys? Let's go with Victor. Victor, what game are you interested in shouting out today?
I'm going to recommend Coffee Talk. It's from a developer, Toge Production. Sorry, I didn't want to mess it up. And it started in an alternate Seattle where freaking mythical beings and aliens are like walking around, and they want to come to your coffee shop and just rant and like release some stress while you serve them some coffee, and depending on how well you take their order, make them wonderful latte art and give them the best drink combinations, because like you can make a whole bunch of different drinks and all that stuff. And if they like the drinks and they like you because you're a really good barista that doesn't work at some shithouse freaking Pete's Coffee, then they'll open up to you, tell you all about their stories, their dramatic stories. Like, oh, I was in love and then I got broken up and now I'm here, or fucking I don't belong here, but here I am at a coffee shop talking to you. Give me something to drink, and I'll love you back. And I'm like, that's not how this transaction works. Please don't fall in love with me. And yeah, it's great. And it's like pixel art looking. It looks great.
How about you, Jacob? You got a shout out for this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out the fact that the Switch is getting Code Realized, the Guardian of Rebirth. I inserted a "the" there for some reason. I don't know why. Code Realized, if you don't know, is it's well known in the otome scene. Because
I don't know. I can never pronounce that word. Is it otome?
Otome. It's very easy to pronounce.
No, it's not.
Yes, say it with me, Brian. Otome.
Otome.
Fuck you!
Otome.
I knew he was going to do that.
Basically, you play as a girl who's isolated from the world because she's got she promised her dad to stay away from people because she's deadly poisonous. She kills things. She's a monster. And then, you know what? Some people go to abduct her, and then Arsène Lupin shows up. Why did I say shows in? And rescues her, and you meet up with his friends who are all just literary characters, and then you date them whilst looking for your dad. That's not really how it goes, but there's a bunch of really good looking anime boys, and you know what? You get to romance them.
I'm looking for my dad. You want to go out?
I mean, you've got, aside from Arsène Lupin, the person who becomes the gentleman thief, you've got Abraham Van Helsing, who wields guns because he can. Victor Frankenstein, who is the cutest, that is a fact.
That's me.
Impy Barbicane, I can never pronounce his name.
Barbecue.
He's from the Earth to the Moon by Jules Verne, but I've never read that one Jules Verne book, so I barely know what he actually is.
This is the extent of what you know him as. It's just through this game.
I know him as the guy from Code Realized, and then we have Saint Germain, who honestly I prefer him in Fate because he's now in Fate Strange Fate, which is another bizarre series. And don't forget everyone's favorite character, Herlock Sholmes.
Oh god. I love it when they do that in like Japanese shows and in manga where it's it's not a McDonald's, it's a McRonald's.
What a twist!
It's not a Burger King, it's King Burger.
Basically, this is a very pretty game with lots of hot characters, and there's a decent story there. It's not amazing, but it's sometimes you just don't need standards.
Awesome.
Sometimes you just need hot boys and girls. This has got the boys down, not the girls, really. The protagonist is really cute, though.
All right. Well, this has been our game shoutouts for the week. And we're just going to wrap up this podcast by saying thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate the support. If you like what you heard, share it with your friends. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. So there really is no excuse. I'm sure one of your friends has one of those things, and they can look at this if they want to.
And then you can desperately recommend it to us because we're desperate. I mean, what?
And then be sure to check out the website, noisypixel.net, for more gaming content. We got reviews on there, previews, interviews, just a lot of good quality video game content from us and the rest of the Noisy Pixel staff. And yeah, if you want to reach out to us, you can hit me up on email at brian@noisypixel.net, or you can hit us up on Twitter, or just comment below on the YouTube channel. And until then, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.